Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be with you today at the 11th Annual Indian Management Conclave, and I appreciate the comments and perspectives of our previous speakers. I also wish that I could be with you in person. I am actually at a place where it's been snowing all day, but very happy to share some insights from AACSB with you. So as many of you know, AACSB is the connector and convener in business education, providing the services and support that schools need to continue to deliver the best in business education. And earning AACSB accreditation is only one part of the benefits of being part of our organization. There are many ways in which business school leaders, faculty, and staff can engage with AACSB. We believe that by connecting and convening with all of our business education colleagues around the world, we can continue to improve business education and prepare the next generation of business leaders. AACSB continues to inspire management schools to transform. We have added positive societal impact to our vision, and we have included equity and belonging to our diversity and inclusion value. AACSB's 3 global offices support business schools around the world: Tampa, which supports the America, Amsterdam, supporting Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and Singapore, which supports Asia Pacific. Our staff are well versed in the trends and issues facing business educators around the world. Members of AACSB's Business Education Alliance are connected to the largest network of business educators, creating endless opportunities to exchange ideas and share best practices. AACSB accreditation is a symbol of the highest standards of quality in education, representing a school's commitment to continuous improvement and to making a positive impact on society. Members also benefit from best practices through peer networking and more than 100 learning and development programs now offered online to support their needs. We are the leading voice in business education, investing in digital advertising, public relations, and social media to advocate for the importance and value of business education and the quality of accredited schools. We are the leading source for global business education data, insights, and reporting. Business Education Alliance members participating in surveys have unlimited access to Data Direct, which is the world's largest comprehensive data set on business schools that can be used for benchmarking or supporting other initiatives. As a member-governed, volunteer-driven organization, our collective team of global volunteers is dedicated to a consultative membership model to support our members' unique needs. Given today's topic of learner-centric management education, I'd like to share how the AACSB Business Accreditation Standards are ensuring that today's learners are prepared to lead in whatever career path they choose, as well as commenting on many of the other topics that have been mentioned by the speakers before. As you know, the new accreditation standards were launched in July of 2020 and were streamlined to ensure business schools were highly engaged in the process and could focus on the areas within their institutions and according to their own mission, vision, and values that needed the most development and support. The most important element of the standards is that they are principles-based, not rules-based, and schools will continue to be mission-driven. Notice that we have also changed the term student to learner. This is intentional and reflects the education progression and reskilling that needs to be done in this modern economy, and this was also addressed by previous speakers today. We continue to focus on assurance of learning and that learners are prepared to progress through various learning opportunities and necessities throughout their life. As we revisited and revised our standards in 2020, here are some of our key goals. The remaining goals continue to capture the spirit of innovation and lifelong learning, acknowledging and appreciating that we are never done learning. So let's go a little bit further into the key components of assurance of learning and review some examples of how schools in India are demonstrating success in this area. The primary goal of assurance of learning is to ensure competency or proficiency with business skills and knowledge. However, to ensure that learners are prepared for careers or further study, it is necessary to assess competencies through a combination of direct and indirect assurance of learning measures. Competencies include knowledge, skills, and abilities, and are a demonstration of learner ability to accomplish tasks. Thus, they are more outcome-focused and broader based than learning goals. Assurance of learning is not intended to be a check-the-box compliance exercise. Such an approach deprives a school and its learners of real opportunity to live the spirit of continuous improvement. One of the essential elements of assurance of learning is faculty and key stakeholder involvement. It cannot be emphasized enough that assurance of learning is not about one or a few members of the faculty or staff doing most of the work. Assurance of learning should be faculty-driven, with the majority of the faculty involved at some level. Quality faculty and a thoughtful and relevant curriculum and support for teaching are all input contributions to learner success. 17 schools in India have been accredited since 2011, and each one is a pioneer in making a strong commitment toward quality management education. There are another 23 schools in process. In total, these represent only a small fraction of the total number of institutions offering management education programs in India. This set of schools are the leaders and have contributed to the development of many other schools. In fact, 3 additional schools have earned accreditation in 2021. We recognize VIT Business School at the EPSI and AACSB Indian Business School Leadership Conclave in April. And now at the India Management Conclave at the valedictory session, we welcome 2 new schools to the AACSB Accreditation Council, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade and our host, MDI Gurgaon, as well as honoring XLRI for achieving extension of accreditation during their first continuing review. Congratulations to all that have made this journey and continue to uphold the highest standards in business education globally. This slide and the next show sample commendations and best practices identified by AACSB peer review teams in the dimension of learner success at Indian schools. These peer review teams comprise of deans from AACSB accredited schools, which are among the top 5% of schools globally, and they are uniquely positioned to recognize the strengths of their international peers. These strengths seen thus far at Indian institutions in delivering learner success are opportunities for schools to share their expertise with their global peers. Another important part of the accreditation standards is the intentional integration of the importance of making a positive impact on society. It is very important that all aspects of the education journey be focused on creating opportunities for learners to make a difference and to be able to make a positive societal impact. We expect that most, if not all, schools will have a societal impact learning goal, which is measured in the assurance of learning process. As you can see, societal impact is found throughout the standards and is explicitly required in Standard 8 and Standard 9. The problems and issues confronting the workforce of tomorrow demand that business schools not view themselves as separate from higher education in general and from society in particular. Narrow, subject matter focused education will not and probably doesn't now meet the needs of our learners and of society. If we are not making a positive difference, then what are we spending all of our time doing? The pandemic was responsible for driving a lot of change within business schools, especially in the realm of teaching and student and learner development. And although we continue to navigate the challenging impacts of the pandemic, we also have an opportunity to truly innovate the way we teach and how learners learn. The pandemic forced rapid adoption, as been pointed out earlier, by students, faculty, and employers of the new online platforms. Online learning and online remote working requires learners and employees to be self-motivated, driven, and take greater responsibility and accountability. The new learner skill sets include being a self-starter, being disciplined, and the home learning environment must be distraction-free, which may be difficult for those with busy households and limited access to adequate technology or internet connection. Also, experiential learning must now take different forms. There is a large learning curve when it comes to new technology, and there are many opportunities for new entrepreneurial adventures. Learners and workers who prefer small interactive classes and environments did adjust to the online learning environment, but continue to prefer more interactive classes. And a question that continues to be asked is, are you using the right platforms for the right reasons? It requires all of us to take time to evaluate and think about long-time learning and student engagement. The future of business schools and the future of work is more than just changing the mode of offering the course delivery. So even a year ago, it was all about data and artificial intelligence and adding data-focused degrees or offering. And that was also mentioned today. But we also realized the arts, culture, collaboration, and networking may be as important. We must take those panic moments and experiences that we all experienced and learn from them. We need to use these experiences to inform our next iterations of online and remote teaching and learning and working. With many companies continuing to work remotely, they are not offering on-site internships, and you are all now faced with developing creative solutions to providing the same hands-on learning experiences students are not able to have by working. What impact will this have on the learner graduate workforce readiness? Will they be less workforce ready? And what workforce are we now preparing them for? The new AACSB standards do not dictate a particular curriculum, and the traditional subject matter curriculum is probably not relevant. For example, the ability to continuously learn, exercising emotional intelligence in a remote and online environment, team building and team cohesiveness with the inability to connect face-to-face continue to be challenges. And all of these behaviors are expected in today's workplace. As business schools strive to be hubs of lifelong learning, AACSB encourages schools to think innovatively about the types of learning experiences and resulting credentials they offer. Demand for continued skill development and relevancy should shape the various modes of delivery and program formats that schools make available to learners throughout their career life cycles. The impact of the pandemic had accelerated calls for change in educational delivery and consumption, with increased demand for flexible, affordable, and career-focused learning experiences. And we can anticipate that micro-credentials, micro-masters, etc., will play a stronger role as complements to, and in some cases, primary vehicles for an individual's lifelong learning path. In the spirit of embracing innovation and agility and forward thinking, AACSB created its 2020 Business Accreditation Standards for a future that will experience a proliferation both in the type of consumers of higher education and in the learning models and technology that will facilitate and support learning. Degree and non-degree education both serve a purpose in the pursuit of quality lifelong learning, and AACSB encourages business schools to find opportunities for the two to coexist in meaningful ways. The standards promote flexibility for schools to accommodate multiple types of learners and the different learning models they will require, while upholding the highest level in quality and assurance of learning outcomes. The percentage of AACSB business schools offering non-degree certificates or diploma programs over the last 3 years has grown to nearly 50%, a 20% difference over the last 3 years. This does not factor in the many providers of business-related certificates outside of business schools, such as businesses and other third parties. Our standards define micro-credentials as certifications granted by assessed mastery of a specialized competency. Such credentials may sometimes be stackable or combined to collectively satisfy the requirements of a degree program, and minors, certificates, and badges are common micro-learning credentials. The world of micro-credentials is large and diverse, challenging business schools, business, and other educational providers to think differently and innovatively about skill development opportunities for individuals throughout their lifelong learning journeys. As outlined in AACSB's 2020 Business Accreditation Standards, and as evidenced by many business schools, micro-credential learning opportunities can result in academic credit that stacks into degree-based learning. This type of bundling provides increased access and flexibility to a wider range of learners who can build specific skills that support their career paths and potentially accumulate in a degree later on. Micro-credentials do not eliminate, continues to decrease, and upskilling needs at an accelerated rate. Organizations are increasingly including, it just said my internet might be unstable, so hopefully I won't be losing you. The organizations are increasingly including micro-credentials in their skill development strategies, either designed and delivered in-house to meet specific company or industry needs, or through partnerships with business schools or edtech platforms. And this growing interest presents an opportunity for business schools to play a larger role. For business schools to remain relevant within the lifelong learning space, they must embrace innovation in learning delivery, including leveraging micro-credentials. Subsequently, business schools will need to create new and or stronger connections with business partners, as well as seek collaborative opportunities with their business school peers and across the institution. If you'd like to explore more about the rise of micro-credentials and their role in business education, I encourage you to read one of our 2 papers, and they're both available on our website. When I think about the future of learning and ensuring that learners are ready to thrive in the new and ever-changing global workforce, 3 words come to mind: listen, innovate, and repeat. We must listen to our learners, their needs, their challenges, and even their dreams. We can't forget that they are the center of the work that we do, and we must always keep them in mind when developing the strategies and resources to support their learning journeys. We must also be active listeners to the voices in business. We must embrace an innovation mindset. The world changes constantly, and higher education, particularly business education, must remain agile and evolve quicker than it has in the past. And we must repeat this process as we drive the best in business education forward. So as I close, I want to personally thank all the Indian management schools that have committed to enhance the learner experience. It will absolutely make a difference. Thank you very much for having me.